Okay, so I had inspiration, my meditation, to do another one of these discharge ones. This one here is on the spider, but I'm going to add a few other things in. So anyways, I'm starting with a clean, it's pre-washed, dry or slightly damp black cotton tee. This one here is Port and Company. I also use Gildan, they seem to work really good. Anyways, for the spider design, what I like to do is tuck one sleeve into the other. I do have a video explaining how I do this. I'll put a link in the description box down below. Basically, I'm just tucking one sleeve into the other sleeve and lining up the hems. So this bottom hem on the sleeve, as well as just the end of the hem here. And when doing the discharge in this fashion where I'm going to remove color from just the bottom side, the folding in half this way, the centering, is important because we're only going to remove color from the bottom half of the t-shirt. And if you fold the t-shirt straight in half, then you don't have all of the folds evenly distributed within the t-shirt. And what I mean by that is I have the two halves of the front t-shirt together here, and I have the two halves of the back t-shirt. So when I fold this up, it's going to be on a spider design, but then I have the t-shirts evenly spaced there so that when they sit down in the liquid, they're going to get evenly discharged. Where if you just fold the t-shirt in half, then you have half of the front on top and half of the front on the bottom. So when you fold it together, the two sides of the front do not get evenly discharged. Unless you fold the front to the inside, then the two sides halves of the back of the t-shirt. One way or another, two of the sides aren't getting evenly discharged. So folding in half in this manner where the front and the back are separate is important. So what I'm going to do now is twist the spider design up somewhat. So this time I'm going to go, usually I go right from the armpit. This time I'm going to go a little bit lower because I want to put a design up on the shoulder here. So I'm going to twist this, and I always like to twist going towards the bottom of the t-shirt. So this is the direction that I like the spider to face. You can twist the other direction and turn it upside down, and if you look at my mystical magical spider design, you can see the difference between the two spiders depending on which direction you twist it. And I'll put a link to that in the description box down below also. So once I get this twisted a couple times around here, I'm going to tie this off, and then I'm going to work on this shoulder here. And it's just a matter of deciding how much of the t-shirt you want into this first initial tie here. And I think that much. I'll probably do something different with the bottom also. So that's the nice thing. You can just kind of tie it up how you like it, however much t-shirt you want included within your ties. So I decided I wanted just a little bit of a scrunch on the bottom, so that's what I'm doing here. Just kind of lightly scrunching it up. The nice thing with the kite string is you can kind of adjust things, get it in place, cinch it up a little bit, adjust it, and then re-cinch it up even tighter. And I do have a video on how I use the kite string, so if you want that one, I will put a link to it down in the bottom also, down in the description. But the kite string has really kind of upped my game over top of the rubber bands. I used to use rubber bands all the time, and now kite string is my go-to for most things. Okay. So now that's the bottom part of the tee, and now the top part. And what I wanted is to do just kind of a couple little twists. So I'm grabbing both of the shoulders here at the top, or maybe just onto the sleeve a little bit. And I'm going to twist those up. And it's just a matter of getting all your pleats to lay down here the way that you want them. And then twist that up. And the more time you spend arranging your pleats, the more precise your design is going to be. Sometimes in the beginning it's better to just kind of do one to see how it is, and then from there, your next one, go back and be a little bit more precise with it, and then a little more precise, and slowly you'll just zero your design in and have it just exactly the way you want it. But you do have to at least get one done so you know what you need to change and adjust or tweak. So you can't spend all of your time just on one design, at least not your first one. Okay, once again we're going to use Out White Bright. This here, I find it in the grocery store, in the bleach aisle. It's not actually bleach, it's a powder, but when used with hot water it does act like bleach. So, but it's not damaging to the fabric like bleach is. So I like this better than bleach. And what I do is just take the bottom of the tub and I just coat the bottom just about the size of a t-shirt. You can see the fine dust coming off. I usually wear a mask, or I at least work out in front of an open window. Most times I work outside. But while doing this video, I'm just trying to show you guys how I do this. So I just put kind of a thin layer there on the bottom. Oh, I guess this here is a little bit longer, so we'll go diagonal with it. And then what I'm going to do is just put the bottom side down in here. And I'll have to kind of squish it a little bit because I did make it a little bit long. And we'll just add a little bit more to the side here. I don't want to get any up on top because I just want the bottom side of this to have the color pulled out. So now we're going to add the hot water in. It's almost boiling. And you need to, oh, I sloshed it right there. You need to have enough water in there so that the bottom is sitting in it, but you want to be careful that you don't slosh like I did. So I'm going to have a little bit of color, extra color removal there. It'll be fine, but you try to avoid that if you can. So I just like to lift this up and just make sure that that Out White Bright, the powder, isn't, sometimes if the t-shirt is laying over it too tightly, then the water can't get to it. So I lift this up and slosh the water around underneath just to make sure that that's getting everywhere underneath the t-shirt. Yeah, so I didn't slosh too much. It must have been mostly the clear water that I sloshed up there. But that'll remove the color off of the bottom side. So we're going to let that sit for about 10 minutes and then I'll be back. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes or so. And I think that's about all the color I'm getting out of the bottom side of that t-shirt. So we're going to give this a really good rinse. Spin out the excess, rinse it some more. And then I'm going to prep it for dyeing. So stay tuned, I'll be back. Hello and welcome back to my channel. So we got this spider scrunch spiral tee all rinsed out. This was the Out White Bright. You can see where I did slosh some of that solution up on top, so you just got to be a little bit more careful when you're moving things around in there, but I did get this rinsed really well. I kind of soaked it, spun it out, soaked it some more, spun it out. The spinning out really helps force more of the out white bright chemicals out of the t-shirt. And you can, I even run just a little bit of water. I use my shower nozzle with the spin cycle on and just help rinse it that way. Then I put it in a tub and I soak it for longer. Anyways, this is all ready for some tie-dye. So it's been soaked in soda ash, and now what I'm going to do is dye it in rainbow colors. There's lots of ways that you could dye it. You could go in and do pies on your spider here and on the spiral and pick whatever colors, but I just want to do this in just a succession of the rainbow from the top, from the bottom to the top. So I'm just going to start with fuchsia at the bottom and just work my way up, just dyeing lines across here. That's still going to give me some definition here in my spider and in the spiral here, but not in the same fashion if I dyed the little pie shapes. Anyways, we're going to go in super speed and just dye this up. So what I've done here is I've added a couple extra colors. I have bright green that I mix myself. I used in here. The bright green, I used 3 parts of lemon yellow and 1 part of turquoise. And if you want it even brighter, you can add even more yellow to that. And the other color I added was bluebird. So just a few more colors of the rainbow just to give this t-shirt a little bit more splash and pizzazz. And since I did see so much color or white showing through on the other side, I'm going to flip this over and just make sure that I touch up those spots. I'd rather have color than white spots, but sometimes the white spots do make for a nice accent, so you can choose to do that either way. Like I say, sometimes the white does add a little bit of a nice highlight in there. But I'm going to dye it up just in the same colors here. And I'm not dyeing the whole thing, I'm just kind of touching up where I see the white spots at. So there's another shirt done. I'm going to let this batch for 48 hours and I'll be back for you guys in about 2 seconds. Thank you for watching. Good afternoon. We're here with another episode of Hippie Christmas with Mr. Tie-Dye. So this was another one of the discharge tees that I made. This one I did a spider in the center, some spirals up in the corner, and then I did scrunch down the bottom. And this all started out on a black tee. Oh yeah. So, here's our spider on the front. I got some nice little splashes of color here on the sleeves from the spirals that I did up there. And then scrunch at the bottom. So we'll get this rinsed and washed and you guys will see the results here in about 2 seconds. So hang out.